Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It has been a few months since we uh, made a video on this channel. Just been a lot going on, a lot of music, a lot of work, a lot of different things, but I do want to get back into it. And we're going to start today with a long video. I wanted to make this video after Sukkot when it was the Berditchev's yahrzeit, Rebbe Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev. And they put out, Siach Sarfei Kodesh. We read a lot on this channel from the Sefer Siach Sarfei Kodesh, which is again a Breslov, a Messiah Sefer, has a lot of stories and all these different information. And they put out like a special booklet, like of all the stuff about the Berditchev and like Breslov and like Rabbi Nachman and Rabbi Nosson. So I wanted to do it then, but I just didn't have time. So we're going to do it today. I don't know if we're going to split this video up into two parts, because it's long. And yeah, we're just gonna read it. I'll leave a link to the pamphlet. What's it called? I'll be reading it on my screen, so you won't be able to see it. Be able to see my face, and I'll be reading it. And we're just gonna go through it, and we're gonna see, what we could possibly learn from this. Okay, so let's start. So it starts off Chelik Aleph. So it's not gonna be like every story is going to be about the Berditchev. It's going to be like anytime Berdichev is mentioned in Breslov writings or anything that has to do with the Berditchev. So it says over here, in the year Bishnas Tov Kuf Samach Beis Bekai, it's in the summer, before Rabbi Nachman went from Zlatopolia to Breslov. Right, Rabbi Nachman was living in Zlatopolia, and he moved to Breslov. Rabbi Nachman was in the city of Berditchev, together with his father, Rav Simcha, and I guess he was with the Berditchev, and what's it called? And that time was the time of the machlokes of the Shpoel Zayda. The Shpoel Zayda had a very big machlokes on Rabbi Nachman, and the Berditchev was involved. So I guess this is just what it's talking about. And afterwards, when Rabbi Nachman came from Berditchev, Nasa le Tulchin, he went to Tulchin, and he was there by his uncle Rabbi Baruch Meshbush. Okay, so that's one piece about Berditchev. Next piece is from Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson says that Hashem knows that I spoke to all the Gedolei and the holy tzaddikim among the Jews, tzaddiki Yisod Olam. He's talking about when Rav Nosson was trying to find like which Rebbe to go to. He was following different Rebbes, and it mentions over here, what's it called? Like before he was Zeichet to be Niskarov to Rabbi Nachman, he was first close to different people, and he mentions Vikulim Kerva. You see, everybody took me close. Ubefrat, especially Harav Kodesh V'Hanoira Mi Berditchev, and also I was close to the Rav Kodesh Mechamelnik and the Rav Kodesh Marenu Harav Shalom Miprovich, and many different Gedolim, and all of them I was by before I came close to my Rebbe Muvok, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. Cool. That is sourced in a letter in Alum L'Trufa that Rav Nosson talks about it. Now it mentions over here, Rabbi Nachman says that the Baal Shem Tov was the prince of 1,000 worlds, and it says the Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev was the prince of was also in charge of worlds, and Harav Rabbi Baruch Meshbush on thousands of neshamas, and the Balatanya, he was the Sar Ha'elef, the prince of 1,000. And on one person he said that he was the Sar HaMea. I don't know, crazy stuff. Rabbeinu met with the Rav of Berditchev, and there was a great gathering of many tzaddikim, and everybody there was nispalu, they were in great wonderment of Rabbeinu HaKadosh. And there is a full story in this, but I don't know if it's going to tell us the story. Okay, keep going over here. Maybe this is the story over here. So it says that in the time that all the tzaddikim gathered by the Berditchev and they wanted to put the zakin, the shpola zeda in cherem, which is told over in the Sefer Chaim Moran and Simon Kuf Chaf Beis Ayin Sham. This whole meeting got messed up because I read this story. It's crazy that the zakin went into the kitchen where the Berditchever's wife was, and he started playing with fire. B'fnei ishtoi shel harav mi Berditchev, and she got so scared from whatever, he was so angry and all these different things, that she thought that he was going to burn down the whole city. And then she went inside to the gathering and she told him what happened, and the cherem never really came through. I think I read this story one time, but it says over here, Acher Kach, Rabbeinu says, Rabbi Nachman said that you can tell to the Berditchever, he was telling this to the people of the city of Berditchev, that they should tell the Berditchever that this year that the Rav is not going to be able to say the Tekiyos, the names of the angels that he sees, which was the way that the Berditchever was noiged every year before the Tekiyos. He would say the names of the angels that he sees. But now this year, Rabbi Nachman says he's not going to be able to. Why? Shaharihu erlecher, because he's an erlecher, which means he's erlecher yid yireh Hashem ve'im lo yireh lo yomer shuroya. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe he's not yireh. I don't know. And it was true that year that he didn't say them, like Rabbi Nachman says. Okay. Crazy stuff. Okay. One time Rab Nassan and Rab Naftali came for Shabbos to be with Rabbi Nachman, and Rabbi Nachman says, "No, go to Berditchev." That he wanted them to be by Berditchev for Shabbos, and he didn't tell them why, but he just told them to go. And they went there, and when they got there, they realized that also the Shpola Zeda was there. And they understood that Rabbi Nachman sent them there on purpose to defend Rabbi Nachman's name and to purify the ear from the divrei malshinos shel hazakin, from the bad things that the zakin would say. And Rav Nassan and Rav Naftali sat there next to the Berditchever, and the zakin, the Shpola Zeda, was across from them. And the Rav of Berditchev asked them in front of the Shpola Zeda, is it true that they say about your Rebbe, Rabbi Nachman, that he says that you should that if you drink whiskey or wine before you daven, you're going to daven better? And Rav Naftali was very machbet about this. He was very charif. He grabbed onto the sleeves of the kapata of the Rav of Berditchev. He says, "You believe this too?" And the Berditchever said, "No, of course I don't believe this." He said it, and he pointed to the Shpola Zeda. And Rav Naftali and Rav Nassan defended Rabbi Nachman, of course, in front of the Berditchever from the attacks of the Shpola Zeda. And he explained to him how, and they explained to him how everything was sheker, and the Berditchever agreed with them, and that was good. And afterwards, when they went outside, it says that I guess that if the Berditchever ilu haya hazaki medaber, he said that, okay, because the Berditchever was the one who was talking, but Rav Naftali said that if it was the Shpola Zeda who would have actually opened up his mouth, he said he would have punched him, he would have hurt him, he would have attacked him with shtei stiros, 2 slaps or whatever. And the Rav of Berditchev was nispal ma'oid from Rav Naftali, and he was and he said that for Rabbi Nachman he has good people to defend him. So let's keep going over here. Hatzadik Kodesh Hashem Pe'er Hador Vadore Halihu Harav HaKodesh Mi Berditchev. He would begin davening his tefillah at the time that it was mutter to begin davening, very early, but still mutter to daven. And because he was because of his devekis and all of his avodas, until he got to tefillah Shmon Esrei, it was already past Zman tefillah. He started really early, but until he got Shmon Esrei, because he was davening with so much kavanah and so much yigiyas and devekis, it would go past Zman tefillah. He would say, I stand to daven, I'm ready to daven, I start davening, and then I go into devekis, and then there's a mitzvah ula dafka boy. It's from the Raisa. He says, I can't stop myself from being in devekis, that's why I go past Zman tefillah. But even so, the Gedolim were not masking to him, the Berditchev about this. And on this, Rabbi Nachman said Rabbi Nachman said in Sefer Chaim Ran that tzaddikim make a mistake by davening late, and Rabbi Nachman was talking about the Berditchev. Just take a drink of water here. Made a bracha before, of course. B'shnoisav ha'achroinish shal Rav mi Berditchev, in the last years of the Rav of Berditchev, she'az nasa Rav, the Rav was going around in different cities, and Rav Nosson came to Rabbi Nachman for Shabbos, and Rabbi Nachman said to him, the Berditchever is now going on the way, and regular people are serving him, like just stam people. He says, you go. Rabbi Nachman said to Rav Nosson, you go, and you take care of him on the way, for hotels and whatever, be his shamish. Right, so Rav Nosson went to the Rav of Berditchev, and he took care of him for a few weeks, and he was with him for many nesiyas. And Rav Nosson had a minhag that he was noig to toivel in a mikveh before entering any city. And when he was with the Berditchever, they went to they were going to a certain city, and Rav Nosson wanted to go to the mikveh, but then if you want to go to the mikveh, so then the Berditchever would have to enter into the city without his shamish, who is Rav Nosson, or he had to be delayed, and Rav Nosson didn't want that. It's not covered for the Rab. So when they got to this mountain, they were on a mountain. They had to go up or down or whatever. So the wagon had to go slow. So Rav Nosson got out from the thing from the wagon with great zrizus, with great speed, and he went to the mikveh, which was outside the city, and he toiveled b'zrizus very, very fast, and until the horses got to the top of the mountain, because they were going up the mountain, right? So they're already waiting. Like he met them right away. So because he did it so fast, and then the Berditchever did not have to wait. Cool. There was also the Ma'aseh then when Rav Nosson was being the shamish of the Berditchever that they were staying to daven in a certain shul, and the Rav Berditchev was davening, the way that he davens with loud voices and clapping and devekis and all these different things, and with his chasidim. And Rav Nosson was also davening there, and the Gabbai of the Beis Knesset came and he said to Rav Nosson, Al tafriya ve'al tevava sarav b'tfilas. He was telling Rav Nosson, don't bother the Berditchever in his tefillah. And the Berditchever heard this, and the Berditchever turned to the Gabbai and says, but maybe I'm disturbing him. So, and then Rav Nosson continued davening. All right. There's many other things to say about this also. So there's a lot of other stories, Gedolos and Neflois, to tell over when Rav Nosson was the shamish of the Berditchever. And but the main thing to know is that that the Berditchev was able to see the great sitkis, first of all, of Rav Nosson. He was able to see the great sitkis and how big of a tzaddik Rabbi Nachman was, because he understood that everything that Rav Nosson was doing, he didn't get anything. Like everything he did was because of Rabbi Nachman. Everything, all his avoidance, all his reasons, everything he did. And now it continues over here. It says, at the time that the Breslovers in the city of Tarvitsa made a Suda in honor of the Rav of Berditchev, Levi Yitzchak Berditchev, when he was there, which is bought in Sefer Chai Moran. We should also look over there in Siman Shin Lam Gimel. So the Rav of Berditchev spoke then at the table about the greatness of Rabbi Nachman. And Rabbi Yitzchak Chasen HaMagid Mitarvitza, Rabbi Yitzchak, who was the son-in-law of the Magid of Mitarvitza, who was one of Rabbi Nachman's oldest followers, I believe, Shal Yefei Toyer Bal Tzura Bav Nichnas Lazuda. He was very beautiful, and he had a great tzura. Everybody looked at him, whatever. He had an interest. He had a great look, and he came to the Suda. So then the Rav Berditchev saw him, and he was in a spile on the way that he looked. And he asked, to which tzaddik is he close to? And they answered the Berditchev that yes, he's also close to Rabbi Nachman. So the Rav was very quiet. So he said, he's like, I'm going on the way now, and I see that Rabbi Nachman already grabbed everybody. Anywhere that there's good, Rabbi Nachman already grabbed it. Wow. Okay. It's known that the Berditchev loved Rav Nosson a lot, and he even called him Nassel Ashali, my Nassel, my Nosson. Nosson-la. Nosson-la. I thought it was like Nutla. No. Nosson-la. Well, I can't even say it. Whatever. Anyway, he liked Rav Nosson a lot. One time, Rav Nosson said about the Berditchev, he said that these deep shatim in Gemara that I one time heard from the Rav Berditchev, I never saw anything like that again in my life. Okay. Rabbi Nachman said after the death of the Rav of Berditchev, right? Because they didn't know about it, but Rabbi Nachman knew about it. And the Breslovers, his Hasidim, wanted to hide it from him. And he said to his Hasidim, he said, how do you want to hide this from me when they already know about this in Eretz Yisrael? Because in those days, news did not travel to Eretz Yisrael so quickly. Let's see what that means. Maybe there's a footnote, Chaf Daled. It says, see in Chaim Ram, but I guess, yeah. Okay. And when they told over to Rabbi Nachman that the Berditchev said that the year Tuf Kuf Ayin is going to be the year of the Geula, the year of the Mashiach, and the remez is in Tuf Kuf Ayin is Tikah b'Shofer Gadol, Tikah, right? Tikah b'Shofer Gadol, Tikah b'Shofer Gadol leCheresenu. Tuf Kuf Ayin is Tikah. Rabbi Nachman says Tirachim is Oichayar. Tirachim Gam Hi Shana. What does that mean? Tirachim Gam Hi Shana. What does that mean? Chavav. I don't know what that means. Meaning Im Taf Kuf Ayin is the year of Geula, and that the remez is that says in the pasuk Tikah b'Shofar. So also the year Taf Reish Mem Ches also hints at the ending of Geula. Kamashikasav Atasakum Tirachim Tzion. Atasakum Tirachim. Taf Reish Mem Ches could also be Tirachim. So he's saying that Mashiach come any year. It doesn't have to specifically be Tov Kufay. And when they spoke to Rav Avin Bar Nachman after the year Tov Reish Mem Ches already passed, and Mashiach didn't come, he said, Al Kach, Rav Avin Bar Nachman said, even though Rabbeinu didn't say that year was Mashiach would come, he said that maybe it would come. He said that this year was Niskala, the year of Tov Reish Mem Ches was we got was Niskala Hatchelas Ba'olam. And in the Gemara it says, in Baba Basra it says that in the future is when the Tchelas will be revealed in the times of the Geula. So Rav Avin Bar Nachman was basically saying like it's already a start. It's already a start that we got the Tchelas. Let's see how long this video is already right now. Whoa, 21 minutes. All right, let's keep on going. Where is this booklet here? I don't think we're going to do the whole thing today, but we'll do a lot. Second. Derech Rabbeinu HaKadosh He ledaber diburim harbe b'toyer b'tfilas avodas Hashem. The way of Rabbi Nachman was to keep talking and to keep saying many different Torahs and tfilas and everything like that, and obviously about Yerushalayim. What does it have to do with the Berditchev? Because he was from Israel. Okay, let's finish off with this one. So one time they were we just said that Rabbi Nachman was always davening, and Rabbi Nachman was always davening and saying different tefillas, different like that. So one time they were praising in front of Rav Nachman, a certain guy. His name was Rav Yosef Shoitik, Rav Yosef the quiet one, who was very famous in that time. He did not talk at all for many years. And Rav Nachman says, the Indian of Rabbeinu is not to be quiet. We have to talk. We need to know what to talk about. We need to say tefillos, we need to talk. We always need to talk to people, everything like that. So what's the story over here? The story is, in the times of Rav Nachman, there was a person named Rav Yosef Shadar Berditchev. He lived in Berditchev. He was a tzaddik, and he was also a big lamdin. He was a Talmid Chaver of Rav Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev. And they would both learn together. And the chisaron that Rabbi Yosef had was that he liked to do divrei b'dichusa, vertlach. He always liked to talk and say different jokes and different avodas. He was a hacker, basically. So one time, there was a maisa where Rabbi Yosef was fighting with the Berditchev about a certain sugya. They weren't fighting, they were arguing in a certain sugya in the Gemara with the Berditchev. And Rav Yosef wanted to prove to the Berditchev that his parish was the right one, but he didn't get to it. And Rav Nachman so the Berditchev said to him, let me just tell you before you try to prove your pshat that already I know that in Shemayim they're explaining the Gemara like I said it. And Rav Yosef said as a joke, maybe also in Shemayim they can make a mistake. And then he realized what he said. He was like, what I just say? That's crazy. And he realized, and he says, Yosef, he says, you see, the Berditchev said to me, he's you see how far your midah of leitzanas could take into you. So he was very sad about this, and he was very tripped out that he said even these words Shemayim can make a mistake, chas v'shalom. And he separated himself from Dibor completely. He did not speak any Devarim b'teim klal. Until then, they called him Rav Yosef Shoisik, al shem shtikasei. Very weird. So now it says over here that because he always used to say, jokes and all these things, and now he has to stop himself from this completely. And whenever he had a chance, to say something, or he was with a group of people, whatever, and he had to hold himself back. He had great taivas, like he had great, like something growing in him, basically. Like he always wanted to talk, until he got sick with the machlos harazin. I don't know what razin is. I know shebemeshech hazman his yabesh his kavetz kolkach, he got like dried out. I don't know. It's crazy. Until he was just like skin and bones, basically. And when they would see him in the merchatz, in the wash house, in the bathhouse, whatever, like he was so skinny, you could see like his inside his body, because he was so tiny, he was so skinny. What the heck? It was crazy. It's crazy stuff. All right, whatever. That's the story. Hold on. And whatever, and that's the story of Rabbi Yosef Shaisik. But yeah, he got sick and skinny and all these different things. It's pretty wild. But anyway. All right, I think we're gonna stop over here. Let's just do one last thing. Rav Nosson, they bring down a piece here from Likutei Halachos that says, "Achshav kol tikvoseinu hu rak aydei amitis ha'etzis ha'kdoshos atmimus and mishachim misoitzis Mashiach shizkel soitzis miyimei Arizal." Rav Nosson says, now all our hope and everything that we need to do is that we is only through all the eitzis and advice and the imrus tahiris and the holy sayings of the people that come from the spark of Mashiach that started to show in the days of the Arizal. And all the time that we get closer to Mashiach, Alf Bishat Tzaras Nefesh Miskaber Nisr, and even though the tzaras of our souls are becoming stronger every day and the taivas are growing every day, but Hashem with His mercy keeps the spark of Mashiach glowing in us, and it keeps sparking and giving us strength. And it's like how they tell over about this Indian, the way that the Rav Kodesh of Berditchev told over this Indian. I don't know. I guess we need to know what that Indian is, but all right. I think we're gonna stop over there by Taf Tzadik Dalid on page 16 of this booklet. There's like 31 pages. So next video we'll do the other 31 pages. And if you watch all the way to the end of the video, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video that I released a new song called Warzone. It's on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, everything. It's a good song. A lot of deep things went into it. So hope you check it out and listen. All right, we'll see you guys soon.